The morning, I found my grandpa's porch light burning after 20 years of darkness. Something inside me locked into place like a deadbolt finally turned home. Cold air bit my knuckles around the thermos. That tired bulb fought the dawn. Paint curled off the railing like potato skins. Cedar boards gave that same hollow creak they did when I was a kid, tiptoeing out in socks to snag the paper before Grandpa could see bad headlines. It smelled like dust, old coffee, and rain-wet earth. For the first time in years, I felt steady. I'd spent 6 months quietly buying the place from a cousin who collects storage units. The way some folks collect regrets. Papers signed. Title clean. The farmhouse sat just past the last subdivision beyond the iron. Welcome to Meadow Creek sign, and safely outside Meadow Creek Lakeside HOA, where fences must be exactly 42 inches and flags require neutral tones. Neutral tones for a flag. Grandpa would have laughed himself hoarse. I unlocked the door with the brass tag key. Lane and stepped into the dim front room. Sun striped the floor where the blinds had snapped long ago. Dust spun like slow snow. I set my thermos on the mantel between Grandpa's walnut pipe rack and his photo in a Korean War uniform. I told him my plan. Roof first, floors next, porch swing back up, flag by the drive. Slow and right. No clipboards telling us what this porch is allowed to be. By noon, windows open, a radio cracked out old country. The kitchen faucet coughed rust, then cleared. I dragged rotten carpet across the gravel, each roll thumping like a toppled calf. I was prying nails from a door frame when the first knock came. Fast, tight, impatient. Not neighborly. She wore a visor and a face that had practiced disapproval since breakfast. 2 men in matching polos flanked her, hair and logo stitched neat. Clipboards ready like they were about to ticket my house. "Good afternoon," she said, voice colder than the weather. "I'm Karen Halford, president of Meadow Creek Lakeside HOA. We've had complaints about unsightly debris and unapproved construction." I didn't laugh. "Not yet, ma'am. This property isn't in your HOA." Her lips vanished. "We're a stewardship organization for neighborhood aesthetics. Our jurisdiction extends a 1/4 mile past the lakeside boundary." She savored the word jurisdiction like a breath mint. "That's not how lines work." I said "deezy," like telling a friend how to fry eggs. "This is county. No HOA, no lake, just a gravel lane and a whole lot of history." She peered past me at Grandma's mirror, leaning against the wall. "Regardless, several residents are concerned. The yard is chaotic. There's an unpermitted flagpole hole near the drive. And that truck," she flicked her pin at my old Ford, "is parked on the grass." "Temporarily," I said. "While I unload lumber?" One polo cleared his throat. "We'll need your exterior color plan, fence specs, and a remediation timeline. There's also a fine schedule, but let silence hang a beat." The radio hit a fiddle Lakeezy, stubborn. "Folks," I said, "enjoy your lake rules on your lake lots. Out here, I'm replacing boards and drinking coffee. Tell your residents the grass will be cut when the mower's fixed. The flag will be red, white, and blue, and your fine schedule can line a birdcage." Karen's eyes sharpened. "You can be polite," she said, "or we can involve the sheriff and code enforcement." "Ma'am," I said I was polite first. "Coffee. Grandpa taught me you douse more fires with water than kerosene." She recoiled like I'd offered a live raccoon. "We'll be back with documentation." They marched off like a parade that forgot its float. After the dust settled, the quiet felt like a dare. I walked to the drive, kicked a clod, and looked toward the lake's neat arc of tan roofs. My flaghole waited between the hackberries where Grandpa parked the tractor. I heard his voice. "Stand straight. Fix what you can. Don't bow to fools." I tamped gravel, slid the sleeve into place, hands steady on steel. That evening, boots off on the steps, I watched the sun crawl behind the water tower. A meadowlark punched a clean hole through the hard parts of the day. I thought about calling the sheriff I grew up with, just a heads up, not a complaint. Meadow Creek is small. Word beats wheels. Didn't get the chance. Headlights washed the front room. Tires crunched. The second knock was a clipboard tip against glass. Karen again, phone up. Camera rolling like she'd spotted a rare animal. Uncooperative, she whispered. Aggressive posture. Grass violation. I stood, wiped my hand slow on my shirt the way you do, before catching a calf by the foot. You film all your neighbors? I asked. Or just the ones who don't pay dues to your club? You're trespassing on community expectations, she said. The phrase was so foolish I almost missed the county cruisers pulling up behind her. The last car was the sheriff. Broad shoulders? I had. The unhurried walk of a man called everything and still answering to his first name. He stepped into the porch light. Eyes that had seen teenagers lie and old men cry. Evening, Lane, he said. Evening, Jake, I said. Karen spun so fast her visor almost took flight. You know him? I know most folks who live out here, Jake said. He looked at me, one small question he didn't need to ask. I gave the slightest shake. Not yet. This man is violating community standards, Karen declared. He refuses to comply. He's hostile. Deke asked the Polo duo. Those badges mean anything to the county? They studied their shoes like answers were printed there. Far as the county's concerned, Jake said. This place sits outside any voluntary association. As citizens, speak your concerns. As enforcers, you're out past your fence. Karen's cheeks lit patriotic red. So you won't cite him? For what? Jake asked. Owning a hammer? The porch light buzzed and steadied. Somewhere a train moaned. Karen's phone lens blinked. We will escalate, she said, voice lower now. You have no idea who you're dealing with. I sipped cold coffee and felt Grandpa sit beside me. Ma'am, I said gently, neither do you. The game had started. I slept on a canvas cot in Grandpa's office with the window cracked for crickets. Rain tapped the tin over the mudroom before dawn. I lay listening, thinking about fences not boards or wire, but the invisible kind folks stretch over what isn't theirs. Some people get addicted to drawing lines. The trick is remembering your own. By breakfast, the dining room was a workbench. The house smelled like cut pine and strong coffee. I laid out Grandpa's tools, wiped rust freckles from the cast iron, and clicked his handsaw teeth with my thumb like he used to do. After lunch, the flagpole went up straight as a sermon. Stainless halyard clipped, base set like it planned to outlast my bones. I raised the colors slow. No music, just rope, whispering through the pulley and cloth catching wind like a breath. Held too long, 2 pickups idled at the road to watch. An old-timer in a seed cap saluted with a honk that was worth a month of fines I'd never pay. Right on cue, a white SUV with compliance magnets nosed up. Not county. HOA theater. The man who climbed out had a tape measure and a smile last seen in 2011. He looked at the flag like, I'd hung a satellite dish on a church. Morning, I said, handing him a biscuit in a napkin. Country ham. He took it. Biscuits are older than rules. We received reports of a prohibited structure, he said, and a fence line change. Prohibited by who? I asked. We have an easement expectation for sightline continuity. Buddy, I said, that's a lot of words that don't appear on my deed. Pen ready. Name, Lane. I let it hang. Folks here know the rest. I wasn't hiding, just saving it, he wrote, Lane satisfied. You'll receive correspondence. As if on cue, a silver sedan slid in. Plate frame #BossLady. Karen stepped out with a stack of forms like a hymnal. I'm giving you a chance, she chirped. Sign this acknowledgement of governance, and we can work this out. You can't govern a place that didn't vote for you, I said. Democracy is inefficient, she snapped. That's why we have covenants. Something hard tapped the back of my teeth, not anger so much as grief wrapped in wire. I saw Grandpa on this porch, sweat-stained hat, showing a county assessor photos of cattle dead in '78 while he argued taxes. He didn't yell. He made the man look until paper learned the difference between ink and life. I brought out a manila folder and opened it on the rail. Here's the '64 survey. Oaks gone, pin remains. County line here, city here. Here's the deed. And here I tapped it, the clause. No private encumbrances without written consent of the owner. I met her eyes. That's me. She flipped pages with the irritated fingers of someone who knows she's wrong and can't find reverse. We'll take this under advisement, she said. Which is HOA, for we're about to throw spaghetti at the wall. They left, but the day didn't quiet. A drone buzzed the pasture mid-afternoon, fat as a horsefly. It hovered over the flag, panned the porch, drifted toward my staked garden beds. I raised my phone and filmed it. In these fights, there are always two recordings, theirs and yours. At 4. A ticket fluttered under my wiper, Meadow Creek Aesthetic Stewardship. $50 per day for visual disarray. I stood in the drive. Wind, tugging the flag, and let myself be good and mad for 2 minutes. Then I fed the ticket to the stove. Paper makes fine kindling. So do memories. Clouds lowered early. I was hanging the swing chain when the siren whooped, measured, not urgent. 2 cruisers pulled in. Jake stepped out with a clipboard and an apologetic grin. Lane, said call came in. Disturbance and possible assault. Who'd I? Assault to flagpole. Neighbor says you threatened her with a tool, he said, eyes dropping to the swing chain like it might confess. Want to search my toolbox? Careful, there's a dangerously charming tape measure. Behind him, Kieran hovered at the road, phone up, whispering like a storm chaser. He's deflecting. Classic tactic. Ma'am, Jake called. Did he threaten you? He advanced, she said. How far? She hunted the air for a number. 2 feet? From where? She gestured vaguely. The porch. Jake wrote nothing. He flipped a page for show, then closed the board. We're good, he told me. Then Lo, you planning to tell her? Soon, I said. Needed to learn who I was dealing with. Mean as a goose and twice as loud, he said. Exactly, he turned back. Ma'am, he called, this is civil. Please stop using emergency lines for non-emergencies. Karen chewed an invisible nail. I'll go to city council, she hissed. I'll go to the mayor if I have to. I watched the words float like dandelion fluff on a wind that didn't know what it carried. Jake almost smiled almost. When he tipped his hat and climbed in, his eyes promised the kind of justice that isn't loud. Night settled. I strung a single bulb and finished the swing. It creaked a friendly rhythm. Across the pasture, a barn owl ghosted the fence line. I pictured Mom shelling peas on these steps, Grandpa's boots by the door, toes out, ready for dawn. Some places don't just belong to a family. They remember you back. Before bed. I slid a note into the manila folder for council packet. Then I killed the lamp, and the porch light fought the dark alone, steady as a heartbeat. I woke to a pewter sky and a text from Jake. Public comment tonight? Might be lively. I brewed coffee strong enough to stand a spoon and tamped gravel into driveway roots Grandpa's post-storm ritual. The flag snapped in a north wind. Lakeside cars slowed, then rolled on when I looked back. By noon, word had spread. A man in a golf cart in a county lane, bless him, puttered to the property line. You, the troublemaker? He asked. Depends who you ask, I said. Coffee. He sized me like a stray dog, then nodded. Tom built half those houses by the water. Karen's telling folks you're starting a junkyard. Says you're building a pig pen. I laughed. Only pig I got is the one I ate last Christmas. He smiled. She makes enemies like a rainstorm makes puddles. He looked at the flag, throat tight. My boy's a firefighter in Tulsa. That right there, he didn't finish. When he left, he had a biscuit and a napkin, and my promise, if I ever kept pigs, One of them would be Tom. Late afternoon, I showered, shaved, and put on the suit I wear exactly 3 times a month. In Grandpa's mirror, I straightened the tie my wife teases me about. I locked the door with the skeleton key, manila folder under my arm. Cool and familiar. Meadow Creek City Hall is a brick box with a flag out front and a plaque for a mayor who once wrestled a drunk bull from the Founders' Day parade. Council chambers have terrible acoustics and good people. Heads turned when I walked in. Then they nodded. Folks I've known since they were babies shifted on hard benches to make space. Karen had the front row papers stacked, hair sprayed to survive hurricanes. HOA board members sat like yardsticks. She glanced back, saw me, smiled like someone already counting the votes. I sat 3 rows behind. Jake leaned on the wall, arms folded, face neutral and quietly amused. The agenda creaked minutes, pothole funds, then the gavel. Public comment. State your name for the record. The mayor looked at the front row. Ms. Halford. Karen glided up like it was a stage. Honorable Council, she began, voice sugared. Grave concerns about a derelict property at the county line harming cohesion and property values. The owner is uncooperative, aggressive, in violation of multiple standards. She held up a photo of my driveway lumber stacked like a bad Jenga. Unacceptable. We request immediate intervention. Murmurs, some nods, some frowns. She pushed harder. We also have reports eyes flicked to her followers of possible weapons and suspicious visitors. A planted gasp did its job. Thank you, the mayor said. Next speaker. I stood. Bench creaked. I walked to the podium, set down the manila folder, looked at faces from Little League, funerals, fish fries, and fireworks. Porch, quiet voice. Name's Lane, I said. Lane Cooper. Karen smirked. Lane, she whispered like a punchline. I lifted the first page. Original 64 survey. Deed. County boundary. Here's where voluntary associations end, and where my old farmhouse begins. I bought my grandpa's place because my family's stories live in the studs. I'm restoring it with my own 2 hands. I'm flying a flag because he taught me why we do. I slid pages to the clerk. I've been visited, filmed, ticketed, and accused by folks who don't live where they're trying to rule. I've been polite. I'll stay polite. But I won't sign away my right to paint Grandma's kitchen the sky blue she loved. A hand raised him back. What do you want, Lane? Nothing special, I said. Clarity. A statement that the city recognizes the limits of private governance and that harassment of county residents by HOA boards is bullying with clipboards. Karen sprang up. Bullying? We protect standards. I turned to her, not unkind, just steady. Standards are what a man keeps when nobody's watching. Fines are what you mail when you can't convince him. She drew breath to fire back, but the mayor raised his hand. He looked at me with a twinkle I know better than my reflection. Thank you, Lane, he said. For the record, he let the room lean in. Mr. Cooper serves as Meadow Creek's mayor, or left the room, then rushed back. Karen's mouth opened, closed, made no sound. Papers sagged in her hands. In the back, Jake coughed into his fists to hide a smile. I didn't crow. Didn't smirk. Titles don't change your boots. They just hand you a microphone when you need one. I didn't lead with that. I said, voice still porch quiet, because I wanted to be treated like any other neighbor. Turns out I was. So let me say it plain. Meadow Creek values property rights, kindness, and common sense. We don't outsource our decency to committees. The mayor, my Tuesday morning sparring partner over coffee, nodded. Council? Unanimous. A simple, strong resolution. City recognizes the county line. HOA rules stop at HOA borders. Neighbors talk before they escalate. The clerk taped a copy to the bulletin board out front between a lost dog flyer and a yard sale. Karen gathered. Her papers like packing a broken heirloom. At the door, she paused. You could have told me, she said, not a question. I tried to tell you I was a neighbor, said outside. The flag out front swung like it knew how to end a story. Hands shook mine on the steps. Tom clapped my shoulder and claimed dibs on a pig named Tom Jr. if I ever got around to it. Jake tipped his hat. Had a bet on how long you'd wait to tell her, he said. Lost. Figured you'd crack at the second ticket. Grandpa taught me patience, I said. I drove back as the water tower turned pink. Inside, I set the manila folder on the mantel beside Grandpa's photo, then walked to the pole. I dropped the flag a foot to untangle the halyard like Grandpa. Taught me on, raised it smooth. The rope sang. The sky deepened. Somewhere down by the lake, I pictured a visor set quietly on a counter while someone stared at a glass of water and thought about lines on the swing. I let the porch creak me calm. That same stubborn bulb burned steady. Legacy isn't just land or a deed. It's how your hands remember knots, how your back finds a shovel's rhythm, how you wait to use power until you've tried kindness first. Sometimes standing up for what's right is just reminding folks where the fence actually is. No yelling, no gloating, just pointing like a compass and holding steady while the wind fusses. Had your own run-in with people who mistake control for community? Tell me in the comments. I read every one, and you'd be surprised how many of us have walked this same gravel. If you believe some fights are worth having gentle, firm, and for the sake of the folks who came before us, hit subscribe. Let's stand up together, then sit back down on the porch and listen to the flag whisper in the evening wind.